guess I'll start. Just where have you seen the biggest growth in Darian Porter's game over the course of the season?
Patience at the line of scrimmage, confidence in tackling in terms of taking the right angle, getting his shoulder, getting his some knee bend, getting his pads down lower. So that's definitely been a positive.
How do you prepare for a play like they have the short yardage situation where it's kind of tough to simulate that in practice?
Well, that's our job. Just the lack of padded days that go on throughout the league. We got to find ways to simulate as much as possible. Being creative about doing it, and then really for that play, if they're on your schedule, if you weren't thinking about it prior to this week, then you're going to be behind. So you saw like a few teams that obviously had plans that were really good. And that's something that you want to watch that and see what they did to affect it. But you got to start earlier than this week.
This is the first week this season that you may have a weather situation.
Yeah.
How does that impact what you look at defensively when you get to Sunday?
I learned a long time from Coach Belichick. When I was a QC my first year, I knew it when I was in college coaching and stuff, but just how important the weather comes into play. I forget, it was a game, I think it was in October, and all of a sudden we had like a flash snowstorm. And, I had to scramble to go make a tape about how to play in the snow. And, I'm like, I've never been a part of a game in the snow before, except for when I was in high school for Thanksgiving. But it definitely affects it, the different ways that with the ball, the different types of plays that you could see possibly based on the quarterback, based on the who they have over there. So it comes into play, and it showed me the level of detail required to be successful at this level. And Tom slung it around for, I don't know, we had 49 points at halftime. So Tom knew what he was doing in it.
How do you coach up, Darian Porter in the situation now? He's going up against, some elite receivers on Sunday. Can you just talk about his progression and how you get him ready for that?
It's funny, each week you go like, okay, this guy's fast, this guy's big. All the teams got those guys. It's a position in the league right now. And again, most of them seem to be coming from LSU, but not all of them. So, but they're so big, so fast, so skilled. And what you do, you just try to tell them to just trust this process, and then do a study on the players and try to have an idea of his individual matchup. Most offenses aren't doing old school, Indianapolis Colts, Denver Broncos with Peyton Manning, where they're all on the same side all the time. So you're gonna have to do your homework on all of them. So just trust in your process.
It seems like Jalen Hurts has had his struggles, especially turning the ball over. I guess, have you seen anything from him differently as you're studying?
A couple. I mean, he had one bad game, turn the ball. He's been protecting the ball pretty well. I think whatever the ratio was, he had, before the game, he had 19 touchdowns to 2 picks or something like that. I mean, he's a world champ quarterback, led his team twice to the Super Bowl. He's been a winner his whole career. So, again, our job is to try to frustrate and make it hard on the quarterback. But at this point, he's seen a bunch. I was at the Giants when he first got into the league. So, he's even familiar with, stuff I've thrown at him in the past. So the biggest thing is try to make it hard on him. You're trying to make it be all-inclusive. So, whether you're tying in the front disguise, the coverage disguise, you're trying to force all 11 to be on the same page. That's really the sign of when you're really trying to trick somebody, you're trying to force all 11 to be on the same page. So that's a key when you get to the passing situations. And then the best thing you could do is minimize the run game, because any good quarterback will tell you a good run game is going to definitely help you in the pass game. Right, good?
How do you expect rookies like
Tonka Hemingway and Big East to progress in these final weeks as that they may start to get more opportunity?
Just get comfortable just going. Don't worry about a missed assignment too much. Play with great effort, strike your key, and then listen. That's the beauty of that position. You got to hear where the close call is. Then if they're stunting you or moving you, you got to listen. So, again, luckily for them at that position, a lot of it is listen first and then just read your keys. So